Hey guys, Weeping Angel, Triple B, Tara. I'm back again for another thoughts. This is on pride and ego. So, there's a lot of people who seem to think they're so much better than everyone, who seem to think that because they're so good at something, nobody else can be better than them, or ever will, or in turn think they're better than anyone else in the world because they feel entitled. Entitlement is not a good thing. At least when you take it as far as, oh, I'm entitled to anything because I am this. That was one of my friends. Hold on, give me a second. My pride's not too big for that. I caught 2 hearts. Look. Aww. I caught 3. Because I'm triple B. Triple B. It's a trip to be me. But anyway, I myself am also guilty of letting my pride get ahead of me sometimes. Sometimes, not too often. To be very honest, it does. It does happen. And that's when your ego gets too big to the point of where it's like, hey, I feel like I am allowed to do these things just because of who I am. Hey, I feel I'm allowed to do these things just because I think I know what's going on. Hey, I make mistakes too. Everyone does. Everyone makes mistakes. And everybody has to come to the point where it's like, okay, I'm not too prideful to admit that I make mistakes. Everyone does. Everyone makes a mistake here and there and here. And I am also guilty of it. No one is not guilty. All fall short of the glory of God, including God himself. Just a personal belief, but, otherwise it wouldn't have said all. It would have said all but God. Even God falls short of the glory of himself. Cool. Look who is back. Excuse me. What? I mean, this is where I live, This is my channel. This is my account. This is me. Whoop whoop. Anyway, I'm never gonna be too prideful to the point of letting myself just do anything just because I feel entitled to it. But I will do some things. I'll do things here and there that I feel entitled to. Entitlement can be a good thing. All things that can be used for good can be used for evil. All things used for evil can also be used for good. I felt that. Shit. I might as well start quoting scriptural text here for people to understand. But anyway, aside from that being said, I am who I am, and that's all that I am. And I'll never let my pride allow me to be more than anybody else. I live just as humbly as anybody else, as the next person, I'm human, just like anybody else. And I'll always be human, just like anybody else. I'm more than human, but I'm also human. But so is everybody else, practically. And we all gotta wake up and understand these things and understand that this shit is real. You know? I'm not just another conspiracy theorist. And this still does go into the subject of pride because most people are too prideful to admit that some things are actually real, happening and going on just because they're afraid, oh, I'm going to be locked up in the psych ward for this and I'm going to be experimented on and dot 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 dot. Because I'm really sick of people claiming out of pride, envy, jealousy, anger, lusciousness, whatever reason they claim to claim, just because they think they're entitled. No, you're not. I am not entitled either to anything. Some things I just take because I asked first. They said yes. I asked first. They said yes. That's when I take. When you say yes, that's when I take what you allow me to have. Unless you take from me first, then I'm going to take it back. If you take from me, I take whatever you took from me back. Equal. Equality. And it's not prideful to say that you should and can and will be able to do that. And you should, can, and will do that if necessary. That's not pride. That's not ego. Pride and ego are almost the same thing. The ego is the spirit within you in a sense that thinks it's better than everyone else. That part of your spirit that thinks you're better. That ego, that understanding, that viewpoint of you versus everyone else. That's what an ego is. What do you view yourself as? Is your ego inflated? Are you bigger than you actually are? How inflated is your ego? Pride can be along the same understanding and metaphoricals, but pride is only a part of what an ego is. It's only one piece. A pride and an ego. A pride is an aspect of what makes your perception of yourself, which is the ego. If your pride is so big that your ego becomes inflated by it, then your ego itself will be infectious towards you. And if you don't understand that your ego is getting a little bit too big and you don't catch it, then right there you end up becoming more than you actually are in your head and start thinking, claiming to be something that you're not. My sister and I saw the light disappearing from his eyes. My own son was born a year later. Did you hear that? Saw the light disappear in front of his eyes. Everything you have done has been in the spirit of saving children, not endangering them? Yes, absolutely. Criminal law in the background, Law and Order SVU. All I'm advocating for is the right of every parent to weigh the risks and make that decision for their own child. Anyway, I've had a lot of people claim to be me in more ways than one. Think that their pride and ego would be enough to scare and intimidate people and allow them to get away with these things. I called someone out on it once and they attacked me, so I defended myself. Someone who actually lived with me. With me. With me. But I wasn't really friends with them. I distanced myself. all of a sudden they're starting to live here? Things don't make sense here. Why? But anyway, sorry, tangent thought. Sorry. Um, and other people like to claim to be something that they're not constantly around me, simply because their ego is so inflated that they think they have the right to get away with anything just by claiming, but they're not. I have beautiful girls following me around on a regular basis. So many people want to be with me. And then they don't after they realize that this person that they're in love with is so horrible just because somebody wants to go around claiming to be me. What gives you the right to take away their choice? My choice. My life. Just because you want to have a little fun in my basement. Try again, Bobby. And I will say it. I will call him out right here on YouTube, right here and now. I'll do it. I'll say it, and I'll mean it. Because it's the truth. And I refuse to let anybody be unknown to what the truth is. Because that's what I like to center myself around, is the truth. Always. Always have, always will be. And if you don't understand that, if you don't get that, if you don't realize that, I will always be here to remind you. Always. No matter what happens. I'll always be here for anyone in my life. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Worry about the people claiming to be me. Worry about the people whose prides and egos are so inflated that they feel entitled to whatever just because they want to claim to be something they're not. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Worry about the people out there who want to force themselves on others. I respect freedom of will, okay? I respect freedom of will, okay? I respect freedom of will. I've always respected freedom of will. I'll always respect freedom of will. Which means I won't go out there and force someone to do something because I feel entitled to it. I won't go out there and take something from someone just because I feel entitled to it. I won't go out there just because I feel entitled to something and say, you owe it to me. The only time I say you owe me something is when you owe me something. The only time I'll go out there and say, hey, I'm taking this because this is mine, for that reason. That's all it ever was and all it ever will be with me.
Nurse from Chicago met Ray Beatty from towards the drug.
I mean, seriously. How many people want to believe me to be such a bad person that I'm not? Just because they want to assume. Sorry. I kind of made this thoughts video on a tangent. But it's okay, right? Forgive me. But in the end, what does it really matter? What does it really matter if you don't understand What does it really matter if you're not that, and that? And you have to not let your pride be too big to admit that you're wrong. To tangent, adjacent, and allude to my last video. You have to not let your pride and your ego be too big to admit that you are wrong.
Look, everybody is in on this. Have Nadia set up a civilian hotline. Where's she? Where's Nadia?
I am here not just for myself. In fact, lately, up until recently, I haven't been here for anyone
She went to pick up
in me, which is only me. It's only me. Only ever was, only ever will be. Some people are along for the ride sometimes. But other than me, I'm here for everyone else. In fact, I haven't been here for myself. I haven't whatsoever up until a little bit recently, and it's time I start taking my pride, because pride can be important too. Be prideful in oneself. It's there in the Bible. Have pride in oneself. Have pride in your fellow man. Have pride. The 7 deadly sins are only deadly if there's too much. Everything is good in moderation. Sorry, I'm ugly. I'm sorry. Anyway, to have pride can be a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing. Be proud. Pride. Like that of a lion. Have pride in yourself. Be proud of what you can do. Be proud of what you've gone through and pulled through and survived. Be proud of the person you became. Be proud of the trials, tribulations you went through to become a better person. Be proud of how long it took you to get to the point you are, no matter how long it was. Just because look at what I can do now. Be proud. I'm always proud of myself. Of myself. With myself. Can't be at myself. Can't be proud at something. That's not physically possible. How, please tell me, how does one be proud at something? Because I'm not proud at myself. I'm proud within and for myself. I'm proud with myself. I'm proud in myself. I'm proud for myself. I'm proud of myself. Because I'm proud of how far I've come. I'm proud that I survived 2 winters on the streets, and the second one completely outside on the streets. The last one was the worst winter known to Wisconsin State in years. Okay, and I survived that, being legitimately and literally completely unsheltered and outside the entire time. 3 weeks straight, awake, with just a pack of cigarettes a day and a meal. You know what? I'm proud I survived that and got to the point I'm at now. I'm proud I went through what I did to change me into the person I am today. I'm proud of how I became the best version of me I could physically be at every single point in time I reached a peak. Guess what? Then I make a new one. I'm proud of myself. And so should you. For getting where you are.
We know he has her.
Guys, may I have a hit on Lindsay's place?
I see Ash is watching.
Did they stop the car?
Same.
Lost in traffic before the man driving and a woman in the front
I'm
seat.
proud of me too, she says. Sorry, had to check my things there real quick. I feel they're coming out. They come out with strong emotion. What can I say? I'm a vampire. Legit. I'm a vampire. They exist. Anyway.
Sir, where are you coming from?
Pennsylvania. My mother-in-law.
Stop.
Rest stop in Indiana for dinner
But
outside Elkhart.
honestly, completely, truly, I am tired. 1, 2. I am tired. 3. I am tired. 4. I think I should end this video. But my pride is too big to let me end this video without explaining the topic fully. My ego sometimes does get a little inflated too. But again, don't let your pride be too big to admit to yourself, hey, my ego's big, I need to tone it down. Man, I feel like a bitch. Why did I do that? What did I just do? I need to control myself. Hey, what's going on with me? Why did I do this? What kind of a person have I become? I need to tone it down a bit.
Senator Morrow filled me in. He's still driving Lindsay's
See,
car.
pride and ego will always go hand in hand.
You're smart. Think
Your
back.
pride inflates your ego. Your ego fuels your pride.
Around 5 in Chicago, 2 hours later.
Sometimes you just gotta knock one down, take one for the team,
And you think that he's headed here?
before you can take the other part down.
Parking lot.
Pride will always be first. You gotta work on your pride first and foremost before you can deflate your ego. Because your pride is what inflates it. And your ego is what fuels your pride. Sometimes you just gotta cut that connection
Also checking for stolen cars.
by making
Okay, as
it.
soon as you can confirm his new license plate, we'll broadcast it.
Your guys, Lindsay and I, are on the next flight out.
And once you realize that you have cut that connection in pride, you can realize, take that
Never helps.
understanding, and then you can take away your pride. Understand and put yourself in your own shoes or in the other person's shoes and understand your pride. Hold on. Understand your pride was too big, and then you take that pride, you small it, you shrink it, you be like, I'm a little bit too prideful. And then, from there, you take that pride and turn it into something you can actually be prideful of and say, hey, my ego's too big. I need to tone it down. My ego's too big. Why did I become like that? I was never like that. My ego's too big. What happened to me? My ego's too big. Why am I doing these things just because I feel entitled? My ego's too big. Why should I sit here and continue to be like this? Why am I doing this? How do I think
What can I tell Frank?
this is okay?
Stolen credit card used by gas, ice pick, and a shovel.
It's off Route 78 near Plainfield, New Jersey. They're getting close. We've got local police getting an ID from the clerk now.
There's no hits on the last known flight.
Because how would I feel if somebody else did this to me
Bridge to get into Manhattan.
just because they could?
So what, we gonna stop every silver canyon?
We're gonna stop
Just
every
because they were
by
able
verifying
to.
if it's Nate's description. I can check every known location that Nate's frequented when he lived here. Hey, Sergeant, we may have
Ability does not
South
mean
Broadway Bridge.
that you should be
Let's go.
doing it. Ability does not mean that you are allowed to do it. Ability does not mean it's okay to do. God can do anything and everything He wants. But that doesn't mean that you should do it. And you gotta let your pride come down so you understand what you're doing wrong.
Nothing. No fun.
So you understand what you can do right. And then you go back to the last video. In another video you should probably go to is honesty. For these things go together for a bigger understanding. Pride, ego, honesty, and forgiveness. All will go together for a better understanding on a better life, on how you are treating others and how others are treating you. Put those things to work together. Those 4 will be the most important of all of my videos that I will ever make as far as I am concerned right now. This is the most important thing for you to understand.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I'm almost to a 30-minute mark. I'm starting to think maybe I should just make them into sermons from now on instead of just a small TED Talk type shit, you know, like let's make a big sermon instead of fuck. Let me dumb this down for you a little bit. No, I'm going deeper now. I'm going deeper. But I've hit about that 30-minute mark, so I think that's about it for today. Weeping Angel, Triple B. Peace.